It's like I don't care about nothing, man. Yeah. Uh,
What's going on, guys? Coach Carr here. So this one is going to go over pages 9 through 11 in your notes. So I don't want to make this too long, so I hope you enjoy. So the first problem that we're going to do is on page 9, number 8. So to use up less time, I'll do a little movie magic.
wow.
So now that it's magically appeared, what it says is angle X and angle Y are supplementary. Now, supplementary is one of our vocab words. That means add up to 180 degrees. So then it goes on to say one angle measures 5 times the other angle. What is the complement of the smaller angle? Now, complement is one of our vocab words as well, short for complementary. That means it adds up to 90. So we're going to have to find the smaller angle and figure out what its complement would be so it would equal 90 degrees. So first things first is I set up an equation. The reason I set it up like this, earlier we said that X and Y are supplementary, so the two angles have to add up to 180. So I know it's going to equal 180. Now the 5x came because it said one angle measures 5 times. 5 times is multiplication, so that's why I put 5x. And it's 5 times greater than the other angle. I don't know the other angle yet, so that's why I've also labeled that one as x. So now we just do our order of operations like we've been practicing. And you add these two together, combine your like terms. So 180 equals 6x. I want to get x by itself, so next I divide each side by 6. And I get 30. So I didn't have to find the bigger angle, but I went ahead and plugged it into the equation just so we knew what it was. That was 150. But we want to know the smaller angle. That's the one that matters to us. So the smaller angle would have to be 30 degrees because it was labeled as just x, and we said x equaled 30. So to actually find the answer, we have to now find the complement of the smaller angle. So that's why I remind you what the complement was, even though I also had it up there. So our small angle is 30. We don't know what the complement is yet, so we know, but we do know it has to equal 90 degrees. So I set up this equation here. So now I subtract 30 from both sides to get x by itself, and now I know x equals 60. So the answer would be 60. So the next problem we're looking at is number 10, and we're going to look at part A first. It says the measure of angle C is equal to the equation of 9x minus 3, and the measure of angle D is 8x plus 9. If x equals 5, are C and D complementary? Justify your answer algebraically. So I'll go ahead and do that right now.
Wow.
Now that it's magically appeared, I set up the equation knowing that complementary means add to 90 degrees. So you notice I highlighted our key term. That might be a good practice for you to do at home as well. Now, so I took the two equations and set them equal to 90 because complementary means they have to add to 90. We're trying to see if x were to be 5, is it complementary? So instead of the x's in this next step, I just replaced them with 5. When I did that, 9 times 5 is 45, minus 3 plus 8 times 5 is 40, plus 9 equals 90. So now that I have this, I'm trying to see if it actually equals 90. So 45 minus 3 was 42, 40 plus 9 was 49. Add those together, I get 91. Since they do not equal 90, then it's not complementary if x equals 5. So that's how we show it algebraically. So now it's time to look at part B. So again, a little movie magic.
Wow.
So now with part B, it's saying if angle C, angle D, and angle E form a half a circle, then what is the measure of angle E in degrees? So a full circle is 360 degrees. So if we only want half of that, half of 360 is 180. So basically it's like looking at it as if it were supplementary. So what I did was I went ahead and plugged in the x equaling 5 like we had before. So for angle C, when we do that, we get the answer of 42. For angle D, when we plugged it into the equation of 8x plus 9, we end up with 49. So in order to find what angle E is, I know the full thing has to equal 180. If these two added together equal 91, I just subtract that from 180 and get what angle E is. So in this case, angle E, based on prior knowledge, would be 89 degrees. So the next problem I'm going over with you is page 10, number 11. So I'll do some magic again.
Wow.
So now that it's magically here, it says angle A is 20 degrees larger than angle B. If A and B are complementary, which is one of our key terms, which means add to 90 degrees, what is the measure of angle A? So first things first is we set up an equation. So we said that it's complementary, so it has to add up to 90 degrees. So that's why I have 90 equals. The x plus 20 is for angle A because it says angle A is 20 degrees larger than angle B. So if it's 20 degrees larger, it's going to be adding 20, but we don't know what it is yet, so x plus 20. And since we don't know what angle B is, it also gets an x. So now it's saying 90 equals 2x plus 20. I got that by combining my like terms. So the x's went together because they have an invisible 1 in front of each. So subtract 20 from both sides because we're trying to get across this equal sign. So 70 equals 2x. I then divided by 2, so it cancels out on this side. But I accidentally crossed out this side while I was writing it. Oopsie.
What an idiot.
But when I do 70 divided by 2, I get 35 equals x. And you got to remember that it wanted the full measure of angle A, and we said angle A was the x plus 20. So instead of x, I now have 35 from what I saw here. And 35 plus 20 is 55. So angle A is 55 degrees. So the next problem we're looking at is page 11, number 15. So I'm only going to do the first one with you, and then I'm going to have you do the rest of them on here.
Boo! You stink!
But with the first one, I just want to make sure that we realize it's saying 1 and 4 are blank angles. Well, they are directly across from each other. So we're talking about angle 1 and angle 4. When angles are directly across from each other like that, they are called vertical. Oh, pen doesn't want to work. Vertical angles. So again, the other ones I'm going to want you to do yourself. So the next problem that I will do with you is number 16. So the one I showed you before with the problem before with the vertical angles, that's going to help us with this one. So I'll do a little bit of movie magic.
Wow.
Alright, so now all the work is here. I will go over it, how I got each of my answers. So I first started with x. Now I gave a little hint about vertical angles before. So across from each other are the two equations that both have x. If they're directly across from each other, they're vertical angles, and vertical angles are congruent, so they're equal to each other. So that's why I set the 9x minus 7 equal to 8x. So I went ahead and subtracted 9x from both sides. So x could be canceled out over here. I got negative 7 equals negative x. You can't have a negative in front of the variable for your final answer, so I divided each side by negative 1, which gets rid of that negative sign, so x equals 7. So by vertical angles, that's how I knew which one to go with. So next thing I ended up going for was the y's. So if you notice in here, there's a little box. This box tells us that it's a right angle, and if you don't remember, right angles are equal to 90 degrees. So since I've solved for x, I went ahead and plugged it into this. So 9 times 7 minus 7, 9 times 7 is 63, 63 minus 7 is 56. So I know this angle here is 56 degrees. Now if from here to here these two angles have to equal 90 degrees, then all I have to do is take this equation plus 56 and equal it to 90, just like I did here. So next I combine my like terms. 5y plus 45 equals 90. I'm trying to get this across the equal sign, so that's why I subtracted 45 from both sides, and it cancels out right there. So now I have 5y equals 45. Divide by 5 to both sides to make y by itself, and y equals 9. So we have 2 out of the 3 that we wanted to find. Last one is z. Well, you notice I don't have any work for z. Reason being is here I have a line. If I have a line, the whole line has to equal 180. So if I know that these two angles that make up this line are supposed to be 90 degrees, I know this side is also 90, because 90 plus 90 would equal 180. So that is how I found each of the letters. So that's the end of another video. Hopefully by now you know the difference between complementary and supplementary. Complementary being equaling to 90, supplementary to 180. And then also hopefully you know about vertical angles and that they are supposed to be congruent, which means equal to each other. So for extra practice, I would like you to do page 9, number 9, page 10, number 13 and 14, and the rest of page 11. So now that I am done, I can go ahead and cross that off and have a good rest of the day.